Hey, welcome back. Thanks for dropping by the channel. Hey, yeah, I got a quick tip if you're doing wheel hubs, the hub and bearing replacements on these, well, let's just say Chevrolet, GM, Cadillac, Buick, Olds. This will handle the 1500 models. Basically, you know, 2000 through 07, 08, something like that, 09, 10, I don't know. A lot of coverage for your wheel bearing and hub assemblies. This one's a 05 Tahoe, four-wheel drive, and we're going to do left front wheel hub. We got some serious issues. If you're hearing a growling noise, kind of a rotational, that sort of thing as you're driving around, it may change a little bit as you turn and whatnot. You might want to take a close look at your wheel hub and bearing. We're seeing these things fail at 80, 90,000 miles. This is Alaska. I don't know about your area. I don't know the effects of rust and corrosion. We just don't really have that here. But this is a very common issue. And in this case, I was in for a water pump replacement, and I just happened to see a little abnormal tire wear and took a look. I'm not a high pressure sales guy, but you know, lady, your wheel's falling off. I do have the vehicle raised on my 4-post hoist and supported with a rolling jack under the lower control arms. So anyway, we're just going to do a quick wheel hub and bearing. It comes with the sensor. I use a quality part. I go with a national part. It's just a good idea. It's not serviceable separate from the bearings or anything. All one-piece hub. Well, be careful taking those off. I mean, somebody's going to complain about using the impact on it. As you notice, I went kind of slow, and when I'm putting them plastic caps back on, I don't impact the crap out of them. But you know, get a feel for it. Don't just thrash and rip. But get this wheel off. Oh, crud. That's parts flying everywhere. There, maybe you can see the badness here. You know, the ball joints are okay. There's no movement on the knuckle. It's just the bearing inside here. So next part of the process here is got to move the brake caliper, and we're not going to remove the caliper mounting bolts. We're going to remove the mount to the knuckle bolts, and let's see, I believe that's an 18 millimeter back side here. I'm using an 18 millimeter wobbly half-inch drive socket. Okay, be sure you support your brake caliper as you move that entire caliper and mount out of the way. You don't want to drop it down, just let it hang. You know, people say, hey, how's it hanging, bro? They're not referring to your brake caliper. If you do that, you're going to have more problems than low-hanging junk. You're going to have death on the highway, and we don't want that, not at all. Okay, we've got these little keepers here on the rotor. A couple of them. I just take a regular screwdriver and just kind of distort them like so. Get them off of there so that we can remove the rotor. Oh. Now, pull your brake rotor off. I figured it's a good time to put safety glasses on and be safe here after I pry the little clips off that are gonna rip my eyeballs out, which, by the way, the car doctor is not responsible for improper repair work on your vehicle for personal injury or death or worse. So let's be careful out there. Hey, if you don't feel confident enough to work on your car, hey, send it over to qualified tech. I think South Main Auto, if you're in the New York area, probably a great place to go. The Car Doctor Studio is also a good choice. All right, next step here is to remove your ABS wiring. There's a couple of keepers along the way, and then a connector up here. We just gotta, I've got a little special tool for this, but I'm just gonna He-Man it. Disconnect the connector here, and we need to remove our little retainers. I better use a special tool for this so I can look like a pro. This one here, it always breaks off inside the control arm, so you just have to get that out of there. Take a little drill bit, drill it out. The hole goes all the way through the control arm, so you can actually punch this little plastic thing out of there. But again, we're replacing the entire sensor, harness, and hub assembly, so I'm not worried about that. Now let's pull our axle shaft or spindle nut bolt down here. Let's remove this bad boy. This one's a 36 millimeter, got a 6-point impact socket, and some applications will have a cover over this axle retainer nut, and if so, you just got to pop that cover off first. A little washer behind it. All right. Now we just need to remove the 3 hub bolts on the back side. We'll get a view from the back here. And here's the setup I'm going to use for that. 15 millimeter, 6-point, 3/8 drive shallow. Got a short extension and adapter to 1/2-inch drive for my impact. That's going to allow us to get all 3 of these hub bolts out, especially the top one that has some interference problems with the upper ball joint stud that comes through this control arm and sticks out and presents a clearance problem with getting this upper socket on the upper bolt. So I'll show you that. I'm using a short 3/8 wobbly on this one. And so once you come out a little bit, you may have to bump your hub out a little bit in order to clear the rest of that bolt. So you remove your 2 lower ones first, and then start working on the upper one. And then you may have to kind of pound your hub. There, it came out a little bit. You can see it's pulled away from the face of the knuckle enough to allow me to come the rest of the way. Another quick tip is you may have to kind of push your axle in a little bit to get on those bolts from the back side. That'll give you a little more clearance between the inner CV boot or the outer CV boot and the face of those bolts. Okay, now all our fasteners are removed and we can work that hub off of there. All right, there we go. So it's got a little backing plate on it. So just pay attention to the orientation of that. Right here, it's got an area where the ABS wire passes through. So we're going to want to line that up the same way on the replacement hub. Okay, so I'm using a Moog part. It's a Moog or National part number 515036. And these are quality parts. Not going to have to worry about bearing noise after you get done installing it. You know, you get a lot of those red box or cheesy bearings, and you might save a couple bucks, but in the long run, it's not worth it, guys. You're going to end up with all sorts of issues. And again, I'm not dealing with a ton of corrosion here, so I'm not the definitive resource on corrosion. A lot of people, I think, in the rust belt and whatnot, they're going to put fluid film on this or something to knock down corrosion. It just, as you can see here, we just don't have that issue here. Go ahead and route my wire through the backing plate here. and get my backing plate on the way it was. Just like so. And I've ensured that my mounting surfaces are clean, and now I'm ready to reinstall this. One thing I am going to do is put a little blue Loctite on each of the hub to knuckle bolts, and then tighten those down and torque them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and torque my hub to knuckle bolts at 133 foot-pounds. Be sure to consult your repair manual for proper torque values for your particular vehicle application. Okay, now I just need to reroute my ABS wiring, get it all installed back on the original mounts. Okay, remember I talked about how this ABS wiring little retainer breaks off inside the control arm? Well, grab yourself a 5/32 punch, or you probably use a 5/32 drill bit and just drill it out, or you can actually punch that all the way through and clean that hole out. Then you can insert your replacement mount directly into the hole. You've got another little mount here. And then we can connect the connector to the main harness. And then reinstall it back behind the shock. There's another little hole that this slips down through. And get that secured. Okay, we're going to run our axle shaft nut down. Don't over tighten this. We're gonna tighten it here in just a minute, but just run it down a little bit. And install our brake rotor. Make sure this surface is kind of cleaned up. And apply a little blue Loctite to our caliper mount bolts. And then let's see, we torque the caliper mount to knuckle bolt at 121 foot-pounds torque. So line our brake pads up. Make sure our brake hose is not twisted like a pretzel. Not trying to make pretzels, we're trying to fix cars. Let's do it right, people. Run them down a little bit, 18 millimeter. Torque them. Okay, now here's how you tighten the axle nut. Go ahead and stick a large screwdriver, stick it in the brake rotor just above the caliper mount. Now let's see, our torque is 177. Perfect. Okay, double check all your lines are properly attached, brake hose is good, got all your bolts, spindle nuts tight. Go ahead and reinstall the wheel. Just going to run these down a little bit. Now I'll go ahead and drop it down and do a final torque on the wheel. You pretty much know how to do that. The wheels on this are 140 foot-pounds torque, and then get my plastic lug nut covers on there. Just use a little quickie wrench for that. But that pretty much does it. Hey, I appreciate you watching. I hope this video has been helpful. Hey, really appreciate subscribers to the channel. If you're new here, man, welcome. Hope you're enjoying it so far, and I hope you come back soon. And wish you good luck with your repairs. All right, take care.